Well-formed governments have the chance to sort of decentralize and manage this process in a peaceful fashion. But there are not many well-formed governments in the Middle East. Indeed, most of the modern state-building projects in the region, Iran's included, have been organized efforts at suppressing this basic human difference or efforts to actually eliminate it. This has required enormous resources for the fragile states in the Middle East to keep up over time, and they've normally relied on an enormous amount of force and political violence in order to keep their regimes intact. One goal of our discussion today is to provide a platform for the representatives of some of the main parties of the various ethnic nationalities within Iran who are working peacefully to promote pluralism and federalism within the country and to hear what they have to say. We're going to have speakers, 5 speakers. To my right, we'll have first Dr. Nasser Boladai, who's from the Baluchistan People's Party. Then we'll have Mr. Mari Esfandiari from the Komala Party, a Kurdish party, a very famous Kurdish party. And then, of course, Arash Saleh, who's also a representative of the Democratic Party of Iranian Kurdistan. And Dr. Karim Abdian, who is a representative of the Democratic Solidarity Party of Alawaz of Khuzestan. And finally, we'll have Habib Azarsina from the South Azerbaijan Alliance. And we're going to keep our opening remarks to a little under 10 minutes each so that we can have plenty of time for a conversation.
Good afternoon, everybody. I also would like to thank Hudson Institute, Mr. Dr. Brown, and also UMPO for making this event a reality. I want to talk about Azerbaijanis in Iran, which are, their numbers is kind of varies, depends who you talk to, but 1/3 of Iran's population is ethnic Azerbaijani. I think that's a good estimate. But let me just tell you something. If, let's assume the Iranian government wants to do reverse discrimination, they want to have a program to undo what the previous regimes did. They would say, we're going to give a loan to people who can prove their heritage was Azerbaijani. Just come forward, prove your ethnic heritage that you're Azerbaijani, and you will receive this loan. Only then you will see what is the real number of Azerbaijanis in Iran. Believe me, they could be the largest ethnic group, outnumbering Persians. Now, I want to talk briefly about history of Azerbaijanis in Iran. They have been ruling Iran for centuries. There have been many either Azerbaijani or Turkic dynasties ruling Iran. They have been in Iran's economy, Iran's army, religious organizations, you name it, they're everywhere. The thing is, in 1905, there was this constitutional revolution in Iran, which Azerbaijanis actively participated in that revolution. And basically, it limited the role of monarchy. This was so the parliament would rule, something similar to what Great Britain is now. That revolution bitterly succeeded. But that was the starting point for decline of Azerbaijani's role in Iranian society. At that time, Tabriz was a rival to Tehran in every aspect, but it has been declining ever since. Now, one other major event that happened in 1945-46, during World War II, there was a de facto Azerbaijani government established in Iranian Azerbaijan. Pishavari was the leader, and this basically Iranian government, Iranian army abandoned their posts, and Azerbaijani activists took over. This lasted for more than a year, and eventually it was the first item that was discussed in the new United Nations that was, had just started. this issue of Iranian Azerbaijan was the first item on the agenda that they discussed. Eventually, the Shah's army took over. There were thousands of Azerbaijanis killed, and that's one of the demise of that government was one of the saddest pages of history of Iranian Azerbaijan. And believe me, to this very day, Azerbaijanis in Iran are still paying a price for that uprising and for that de facto government in the 1940s. They're still paying for that revolt against the central government. Now, in 1979, the Islamic Revolution, Azerbaijanis were very active. They actively participated because they were so much against the Shah. They were everywhere. They participated in the revolution. And when the government, the new Islamic government, took over, you could say that all the decision-making positions were divided between Azerbaijanis and Persians. They were like half and half. A lot of senior leaders in the government, like Prime Minister Bazargan, ethnic Azerbaijani, Ayatollah Musavi Ardabili, leader of the Supreme Court, was Azerbaijani, leader of the Iranian Senate, Ayatollah Mishkini. These were all ethnic, and many ministers in the government. It was kind of half and half divided. But then a year later, when the constitution, the new constitution was putting for a referendum, Ayatollah Shariat Madari, who's ethnic Azerbaijani, and most Azerbaijanis had chosen him as their religious leader, he opposed this constitution, Article 5, which basically was establishing a theocracy, establishing rule of the clergy. He said this shouldn't be there, you know, parliament should rule, not the clergy. And there was this party, Khalq Musalman, or the Muslim People's Party, which was very active in the Azerbaijani, ethnic Azerbaijani inhabited regions, the northwest part of the country. And there was major revolt there in this is about 1980, 1981. And for months, this party, Khalq Musalman, the Muslim People's Party, had taken over all important government facilities like TV, radio, airport. Even army had declared neutrality. So it was kind of de facto autonomy for Azerbaijan region. Later, that movement collapsed, and that was another turning point, basically on the slaughter of ethnic Azerbaijanis in Iran, and their situation got even worse. Now, Azerbaijanis use every opportunity to express their needs and the change that they want. Their, since I would say 1980s, their movement has been mostly peaceful, you know, mostly activities that the Iranian constitution allows, although there have been many Azerbaijanis who were killed on the streets in rallies and demonstrations. But they, overall, generally, they have tried to have peaceful rallies, go through parliament and elections. However, Azerbaijanis are very proud of their ethnic heritage. And the ruling Persians know this. Once in a while, something happens in the Iranian media, or the government does something, and this basically, the Azerbaijanis show reaction to this. It energizes them. One example was in 2006, May of 2006. An official Iranian newspaper called Iran newspaper, published a caricature which was depicting Azerbaijanis as cockroaches. This was a supplement to children's magazine, which is attached to Iran newspaper on Friday editions. And this thing was basically, caused an uprising in the Azerbaijan region, which had never happened, which hadn't happened in decades. And all large and small towns in Azerbaijan region rose up, showed their protest, including the government officials who participated even in Friday prayers. They all showed their dismay and protest. It was the largest event in recent history of Azerbaijanis in Iran. But then on the other hand, we had the Green Movement. Probably most of you have heard of that. And the leader was Mr. Mir Hussein Musavi, who's an ethnic Azerbaijani, by the way. But Azerbaijanis did not participate in that movement actively. And there is a reason for that. Although the leader was ethnic Azerbaijani, they did not actively participate. And the reason is that because the movement and Mr. Mir Hussein Musavi himself was very reluctant to talk about ethnic rights, to talk about the rights of Azerbaijani people. He traveled to Tabriz, he gave speeches, and he spoke few sentences in Azerbaijani, but he was very reluctant to talk about these issues. And that's the reason, although most other parts of Iran, especially Tehran, actively participated in this movement, Azerbaijanis who historically are very active in revolutions stood aside. Another thing I just want to stay within the 10 minutes, and that is one thing. Lake Urmia, I have to mention that. Lake Urmia, which is the largest lake in that region, it is drying up, mostly because of mismanagement by government authorities. They have built too many dams and rivers pouring into Lake Urmia. They have built too many wells, which sucks up water from underground and destroys the balance of water balance underground. And also, there's also nature has played a role here too that cannot be denied, but it's mostly because of mismanagement by central authorities. So that lake is drying up, although starting last year there is some improvement, but that is a major issue which is in the mind of every Azerbaijani. It is a force that has organized Azerbaijanis. It has energized Azerbaijanis. They demand government to have a solution to put aside resources. And they have promised Mr. Rouhani, who's trying to get elected again this Friday, he promised he will put aside resources to basically bring more water to Lake Urmia. He had his first cabinet meeting solely dedicated to issues of Lake Urmia. He did that. But a lot of talk, very little action. They have said a lot of things. Every now and then, government officials go to that region and they talk about that they do their best to do this, but it's mostly talk, very little action. Just going through my notes here, one more thing, and that is, as I said, Azerbaijanis use every little opportunity to express their demands, their feelings. One thing that has been seen past few years is sports events. Tabriz has a soccer team called Traktor Sazi, which Azerbaijanis call it Traktur. They insist on that Turkish pronunciation of the name, and by that, basically they say, this is my team, I want to call it the way I want to. And Traktor Sazi's games are good sporting events, but also a venue for expressing ethnic demands and long live Azerbaijan, you can hear it. Probably you don't see that, you don't hear tens of thousands of Azerbaijanis chanting long live Azerbaijan in the Republic of Azerbaijan, but you hear it in the Iranian side in these sports events. And also there is the volleyball team in Urmia, which is similar to Traktor Sazi's games, that there are a lot of Azerbaijani nationalism is shown there. Now, what I want to end my remarks with really talking to Persian opposition groups abroad. They're mostly Persian, and I'm just telling them that the time for any supremacy, the time for for Persian supremacy is over. It is just very divisive, very divisive. Embrace ethnic groups, other ethnic groups, non-Persian ethnic groups, and we can accomplish a lot together. Don't try. You have tried to dominate us for decades. You haven't got anywhere. You tried to dominate Azerbaijanis for decades. You tried to destroy Azerbaijani language and culture. You didn't get anywhere. Azerbaijani language and culture is still alive. The only difference is most Azerbaijanis now have become bilingual. The ones who have, who are educated, have high school diploma or have college education, they speak Farsi. That doesn't mean they have forgotten Azerbaijani language. Azerbaijani language is alive and kicking. And as my friend said, now we live in 21st century. There is satellite TV, there is the internet, there is all this social media. There is a country called Republic of Azerbaijan, and there is Turkey, country of Turkey. Their TV broadcast, it all has an impact on awakening the Azerbaijanis in Iran and other ethnic groups as well. We are not asking for too much. We are just asking for equality. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. How representative are the parties or the movements that you work with of the actual aspirations of the different ethnic nationalities in Iran, the Kurds, the Azeris, the Awazis, and the Bluch? And how representative is the aspiration to have a federal Iran of the different other factions amongst those ethnic groups? And if we can sort of keep answers brief so that we can open it up for a larger conversation. But I'm very keen to hear more from each of you about that and about the actual state of political development within the actual different ethnic regions. If you can keep your answer very short, because I do want to open this up to the...
Yeah, definitely. I'll try to be brief. In Azerbaijan region also, I think the majority of people would opt for autonomy, would choose autonomy, and we have experience of this in 1940s. There was the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic. In 1980, the Khalq Musalman, the Muslim People Party, it was like a de facto autonomy. And we had even another one, Khiyabani movement, which I didn't have time to talk about that one. That was also kind of autonomous state within Iran. So we have experience of that, and it has been well managed, and people want that. I'm going to just say one thing about the economy. You know, in this 1940s, the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic economy was so good. Tehran government was not sending currency to Azerbaijan, so at the end, towards the end, they had to publish their own currency. And this currency was more expensive in Tehran. They were buying this for more than its value. The 50 tuman ones was selling 55 tumans in Tehran because they believed more in Azerbaijan democratic government than the central government. So the majority won this. We have experience of it, but also there are groups who advocate independence also, that I cannot deny that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. This gentleman back, 4 rows back, please.
My name is Mohammed, pen name Taymazur, Turkish people from Iran. I have a question, Mr. Arash. You're speaking about Kurdish people in Iran and Kurdistan in Iran and Rojhelat. Where is Rojhelat? Where is Kurdistan in Iran? And what's your solution to cooperative between people, Turkish people and Kurdish people? Because Kurdish parties in Iran have so serious territorial claims against Iranian Turkish people lands, historical lands, Azerbaijan lands. Is your solution after the day after Islamic Republic, as Kirkuk or Syria solution, do you want to kill and exile Turkish people? Because these are so serious statements that we have so serious struggle and conflict today.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a big question, and we can't do it justice, but if you could answer briefly, Arash, thanks.
Of course. Actually, as Kerry mentioned, we have CNFI, a Congress for Nationalities, of Nationalities for Federal Iran, and we started cooperating with Azeris and other nationalities in Iran. There isn't any issue that cannot be solved with democratic mechanisms. So in the future of Iran, there is only one judgment between us, and it is democratic mechanisms. And we are going to resort to democratic mechanisms, and we are going to see what exactly peoples in those territories who are actually Kurds and actually Azeris or Kurds and Turks are combined with each other and live with each other, what exactly people in those towns, cities, towns, and villages want.
Let's finish. Let's continue after. Thank you very much.
Peter Humphrey, I'm an intel analyst and a former diplomat. I'm wondering if you guys could talk just very briefly about cross-border relations. For example, Baluchis in Pakistan, KDPI talking to PUK or KDP in Iraq, and the Azeris talking to Azerbaijan. Is there moral support? Is there any sense of they would like to grab you even if you don't want to leave? What are the general sort of cultural contacts, and are there geopolitical contacts as well?
Yes, in case of Azerbaijan, the Azerbaijanis in Iran are the same ethnic group as Azerbaijanis in the Republic of Azerbaijan, the same language, the same culture, the same food. Basically, we are the same people. And definitely there's moral support for Azerbaijani cause in the Republic of Azerbaijan. But when it comes for material support, there's almost non-existing, as far as I know, very little. Maybe Azerbaijani government might provide some humanitarian support for people who are have been deported or who are sick, or if they return to Iran, they would be executed. Just that, and I don't know really the details of that, but maybe only that's about it. No more than that. And also, same is true about Turkey. You know, we are very close to country of Turkey, but Turkish government is very reluctant to support Azerbaijani cause in Iran. In that case, honestly, we feel Azerbaijanis in Iran, they feel that they have to rely on themselves. There's no foreign support for Azerbaijani cause in Iran. So we have to rely on ourselves.